morning, Nigeria. It's Thursday and the political temperature is already climbing. I'm Oluwayemi Adelako, and this is Daybreak Live, the space where we press beyond talking point and face the realities shaping the nation.
All right, that's actually true. I am Samson Balogun. Abuja woke up to a bold statement from the Senate, a call for the federal government to review Nigeria's firearms laws and allow responsible citizens in quotes to own guns. A proposal that sounds like empowerment to some and like a doorway to deeper insecurity for other people.
Exactly. At a time when banditry is rising and trust in state protection is shaky, this debate isn't just about firearms, it's about fear, frustration, and the shrinking confidence in government ability to protect its people. Well,
that's actually away from there. In a moment, Yemi will take you through the break news, bringing you the updates, the power moves, and the policy shifts are redefining and refining Nigeria's week.
Then we eat the front pages, the stories behind the big headlines, the politics behind the print, and the angles many prefer you do not notice. We'll be joined by our analyst, Mr. historian and public affairs analyst, to help unpack the deeper current.
Moving on from there, today's big story, we are straight to the art of foreign policy and political strategy. Strategic or symbolic? Unpacking Tinubu's ambassadorial nominees to the Senate. Are these appointments about global influence, domestic balancing, or political reward?
That's a big question. Joining us is Lekon Shobwali, journalist and public affairs analyst, sharp, clear, and never afraid to see the uncomfortable truth.
Then we wrap up things this morning with Trend Watch, where the viral becomes the vital. The national mood meets the national message.
I like that. It's Thursday morning and the headlines aren't slowing down.
Most definitely. This is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your channel of choice. Do want to link up with us on all socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X, formerly Twitter, at Dominion Cast. You can also watch us live on YouTube and Facebook at Dominion Broadcast. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Samson. I don't think you are slowing down as well.
Well, it's actually one of the most important things to do. Yeah. You find yourself in a country like Nigeria, you don't slow down. You keep moving. And that's what we do on this show. We don't slow down to read.
Honestly, we do.
Right, pending issue. Yesterday, this news filtered in, and the federal government and the Senate, it's more or less like a back and forth. And then the Senate told the federal government of Nigeria review the firearms law for responsible Nigerians to actually have access to firearms. Well, as we said earlier, it's one way, it's more or less like a door to freedom for some people and, of course, to allay their fears. On the other hand, it becomes more of a problem for some people. So who are the responsible Nigerians? That's the first question that popped into my head when I read that particular headline. Who are the responsible Nigerians? You get to realize the fact that even the so-called responsible Nigerians will become irresponsible when it is time for them to get licenses for firearms, because they might not have access to it. And then who are the people who are going to have direct access to firearms? I say it is the 1% of the 100% of Nigerians, which are the politicians. So it will be easier for them because they will connect through their cronies to anyone in charge. They will connect their friends, families, and then what will happen to average Nigerians? I think we are still going back to the same point. And of course, when firearms becomes what we will call, there's a particular term people use on the streets. When it has become pure water, when it becomes so too available, let me put it that way. It is almost everyone has guns. Don't forget that even in America, as you speak, they are still battling the issue of gun violence. And you are seeing clips on social media where someone just gets angry and the next thing he thinks about is to bring out his gun and then shoot. So what will happen in a country like Nigeria when everyone is let me not say everyone anyway, but most people, they are hungry.
They're on the edge. They just need to push.
Just like Fanika Ode said the other time, they have a very short fuse. And then when you infuriate them, they get angry, and the next thing they do is to go into their houses, bring out the gun and start shooting. So I think, how do we control this? I, for one, think Nigeria is not ready for this. Even America that was ready till today. If you check the firearms proliferation in America, even through the black market, just like we get fuel in Nigeria and say, oh, they sell through the black market. Even in America, there's black market guns. So what would now happen in a country like Nigeria where all our borders are porous? And then guns are to be given to the so-called responsible Nigerians. Some people will consider themselves responsible Nigerians too, and they will get the guns. And then what will happen when someone just feels angry one day and brings out a gun and starts shooting people?
Okay, I think you're very spot on. You mentioned something that, people can get angry, and then sometimes when you board a cab, and then you see when two persons are fighting, you'll be scared for your life. Even you are not part of the fight too.
Especially when one is sitting on this side and the other is sitting here, and you are at the center, at the middle.
You are reading Psalm 91, one powerful psalm to say, just deliver me from this evil.
When this person throws punch, I mean, where would I be?
Honestly, what would be your is a lot to unpack actually. And the one more thing is, you said something. How do we define responsible Nigerians in this situation? Some Nigerians are saying, can we limit the firearm to the public space alone? I'm talking about the schools, the churches. I feel like at the end of the day, people will still misuse that opportunity. There are some persons in this country that they are just looking for loopholes to perpetrate evils, to get access to guns. We've seen cases whereby, I don't know if you've seen pictures online of clerics, they go to church, they hang it on their neck. AK-47 is on their neck because you try anything, I shoot you. That's the mindset now because of the insecurity that is going on in the country. And I think if at all that the federal government decides to actually push on with this particular initiative now, maybe it should be properly monitored, and then it should not be accessible to every Nigerian, regardless of whether you are responsible or not. Because I mean, we are still talking about vigilantes now, trying to arm them properly. And some Nigerians are saying that, okay, we've seen past vigilantes abuse the opportunity of the enormous power that they have. Look at what happened in Anambra State when a corps member was stripped naked by vigilantes. We've seen cases whereby
in Osun State too.
Exactly.
They went to a particular town and then they started shooting sporadically. Well, whatever must have happened at that time, I think it is the responsibility of the vigilante group to douse the tension and not create more tension.
Exactly.
And eventually that was what they ended up doing.
We even seen I even watched a video where a supposed activist was beaten to stupor, by vigilantes. We don't know what happened, but I think there are better ways to handle situations like that. So if at all the federal government, through the Senate, wants to approve this, they need to think about it so much. They should not just, say that, okay, because they are under pressure, okay, so let's just, approve, for people to own guns. No, it should not work that way. Even the United States, you mentioned something about that. We've seen cases whereby if you are not careful, anyone who woke up on the wrong side of bed can just shoot you. Especially in the UK, for instance, one of my lecturers mentioned something that there's a part in the UK that is majorly dominated by the whites. And then he said he went there for maybe a conference or fellowship, and he was just walking through, and then a white man upstairs just called him, "Why you? What are you looking for in my area?" He said he had to just explain himself to him because before anything sad happens. So in Nigeria, I think a lot of persons are on the edge, and then if care is not taken, people will abuse this opportunity. If you see a pump action with any Nigerian now, won't you be surprised? You can't even bring it out unless you have proper license. Maybe got into the Inspector General of Police. That's when you can say, okay, I have this gun, I have license to it. So let's not try it. We have people in this country that the only thing that is stopping them from doing certain things is access to gun. So if you give them that opportunity, it's a big problem.
Yeah, me very quickly, let's back this up with statistics.
Yeah.
Now, according to Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and related analysis, there were 46,728 firearms-related deaths in the United States of America in 2023. That's roughly 13.7 gun deaths per 100,000 people in 2023. Moving on from there, for comparison, in 2022, there were more than 48,000 firearms deaths. About 132 people per day died from gun-related causes in the U.S. Now, the 2023 total remains among the highest in the history of gun violence in the United States. And of the 2023 firearms deaths, about 27,300 were suicides by gun. I mean, that's suicide by gun. Because he has access to gun, he shot himself or she shot herself. And then the highest ever recorded in U.S. history for firearms suicides in the history. That was in 2023. Now, meanwhile, roughly 17,927 were homicides or non-neglect manslaughter by guns. You see, there is a lot on our hand. It's not just about someone getting angry and says, I want to shoot someone. It's not limited to that. How about someone, especially in a country like Nigeria, where virtually everyone, about 99% of all Nigerians, they are living on the edge. We don't even know who is rich and who is poor anymore because we are all the same. We all complain about fuel, we complain about food, we complain about bad roads, so no one is left out as it stands.
Class is gone.
Class is gone. So someone just wakes up in the morning and is tired of the country, is tired of life itself, and then shoots himself. So that's another problem. How about families who are already having issues. I mean, when we talk about domestic violence, we have seen issues, cases where I think Yetunde's son, or what's her name, she actually stabbed her husband to death. If she had access to gun, she wouldn't have gone for the knife. She probably would have gone for the gun.
That's faster.
That's faster. So we have so many families in the same situation, and you have just given them a weapon to get it done. So we are going to have a lot of statistics to deal with. Do we have what it takes to nip this in the bud? I don't think so. In countries like the UK and the US, when someone gets shot, especially not in fatal places, you get emergency services. They come in, that person probably gets to the hospital. The security agencies, they pick up whoever, perpetrated the heinous act, and then justice is served. In Nigeria, if someone is shot in, let's say, for example, Challenge, as we speak, I mean, who are you going to call for emergency? You are going to call your neighbors, and then you put that person in a car, and you are rushing that person to the hospital, and you might have even worsened the situation, which means that we don't even have emergency healthcare system in Nigeria. So there's a lot of crisis waiting to happen. I mean, Nigeria might eventually sit on that keg of gunpowder that they have been avoiding when it comes to gun violence, if care is not taken. And then what happens when you sit firmly on a keg of gunpowder? It explodes, and no one is spared when that happens. So I think this is not the right way to go. It's not about guns to people. I mean, if you say you want to give guns to people, are you giving me a gun too? Are you giving Yemi a gun too? Are you giving Anu or Shegun at the production studio? Are you giving that person guns too? So it's more or less like the government wants to react based on what is currently happening. I mean, everyone should just settle down. Let's think about this. What are the things we can do? It's not like the people don't have guns, that's why we have insecurity in the country. That's not even the issue. The issue is that we have ungoverned places, we have ungoverned territories in the country. And what do? We send military personnel. I so much appreciate the approach of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria saying we have to recruit more security personnel. And those about 100,000 police officers that are currently guarding VIPs should return back to their bases, get trained, and then get transferred get transferred to other locations as we are short-staffed, and we are, in one way or the other, we need them to actually secure the lives and properties of Nigerians, and not just the 1%. So I think that's a wonderful development. The Nigerian Army is to recruit and get more personnel. The police is to recruit and get more personnel. I think that is good. Let's expand the scope. Let's put our feet on places where some people feel they are ungoverned in this country, and that's why they took control. So if that is done, I think we can push Boko Haram, push bandits out of our territory. Now, if that is done, I think security in Nigeria, the case will be solved one way or the other. So it's not about, it's because Yemi does not have a gun. It's not because Michael does not have a gun. No, that's not the case. I mean, you are just, it's more or less like empowering some people to reap where they did not sow, because someone somewhere will import guns into Nigeria because Nigerians are to buy guns. So you have empowered that person. That might likely be a crony of the president, be a crony of the Senate president, or whoever. They might just be they might just be friends. Eventually, that will lie on someone else's table and then make so much money. And he will be smiling to the bank, but Nigerians will be killing themselves. So I think we should look at it from a different perspective and not just give guns to people who are the responsible Nigerians, just like we said earlier. I think it's more or less like a new definition that will be coined, because eventually you will discover that as a responsible Nigerian, you will not have access to the gun. And even if at all you have the money to get a gun, you will go there countless times and you not get a gun. So what will now be your faith when someone, your neighbor that is angry with you, has a gun and then threatens you with a gun overnight? You have to run away from your home. And that's the problem. So we cannot push ourselves to that edge where nothing will not work. I mean, we are more or less trying to turn the country into a banana republic, and that should not happen. The president should look at this from a different perspective and get it sorted.
Okay, I think you're very spot on. And then let me mention something, just an example. I think about this year, early this year, there was a man in the southeast, a policeman, that had a gun. And then I think his 8-year-old boy or 9-year-old, got access to the gun and shot him dead, and he died. We don't have people. Not everyone has
shot with his own gun.
With his own gun. Imagine what will happen, because I mean, some parents can be very careless actually, and then they will even tell you that I know that I'm careless. So imagine if every parent have access to guns, and then they have kids, young kids at home that they cannot even keep those guns very well. So we are not trying to sound pessimistic now, but a lot of things can actually go wrong if a lot of persons have access to the guns. So regardless of whatever it is, I think some persons even have guns in their house, but then they have like proper license to own a gun. So the government should not do anything out of pressure. honestly. And then one more thing is the fact that I think the president is actually working assiduously to ensure that security is better. I think recently he released an order to say that forest guards should be pushed out to man responsible should man very important territories
even
in Nigeria.
Even DSS
to get some things done. And I think about 20,000 policemen are said to be recruited newly.
I think the figure has been increased.
It has been increased. That's a very good one. So I believe that there are people who know better how we can actually reduce insecurity in this country, and they are in this administration. But the saddest part is they will not see anything until they are out of the administration. I don't know. Sometimes I find it difficult to understand some politicians who are serving, with an administration. When they are in power, their brain doesn't really work well. But when they come out, you just notice that something has changed, and then you see them granting interviews and then talking about things that can actually benefit us, and you wonder what they were doing with that brain when they were in government.
Some people are just not meant to lead. They are meant to be on the other side of the divide and then criticize, whether they do it constructively or the other way. I think some people are just better that way. I will cite an instance when former Minister of Information in the country under the late President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, that was Lai Mohammed, was doing a very good job before the APC came to power. But all of a sudden, when he came on board, he was busy with governance and not about information. And unfortunately, the Buhari administration they had some policies that worked for some people, but too many people did not know those policies were in place. I think there was a time during COVID-19, some people got loans through Nesal Microfinance Bank. Some got as high as 450,000, some got 1 million plus, some for their business they got about 10 million naira. They got those monies to actually, because they knew that the economy was really bad at that time, so they got the money to cushion the effect of the economy at that time. But do you know that so many people did not know this actually happened? It was after it was all over that some people were asking questions. Oh, they said the president gave some people money. They did not give people money. They gave them loans to cushion the effect of the economy. But unfortunately, the information was not out there. And so many other policies like that. So I think what is wrong with us is we don't really communicate. We talk, yes, but do we communicate? I don't think so. And when you look at what we do these days, you sometimes information given to you, it defeats logic. And you begin to question yourself, what exactly is this person saying? Take, for example, when the Eruku 38 were kidnapped, and then they were, the word rescued or returned, I don't know, because some papers, they reported it differently. And then they said, oh, because we called them and then we threatened them and they brought the kidnapped victims, they brought them out, so you picked them. So what happened to the kidnappers? I mean, they walked away, they walked freely. These are the things that when they say to you, I mean, it defeats logic. You begin to what? Even logic will be shocked.
Have you seen videos of this, so-called bandits? They've released several videos in the last few days to say that, oh, we deliberately, released them. Not like they were even talking to the abductees that it was not your president that released you.
And they were asking questions.
Honestly, we
gave you food.
To
yes.
Did
we beat you? No.
That was why we
released you. But we just want to let you go. It's not big. Nobody has come to rescue you.
Honestly, Anu was talking yesterday that he doesn't understand where they are getting audacity from. I'm like, they are buying it, and we don't know where they are buying it from, because compared to 5 years, yes, we've seen videos of this bandit. They release videos, from time to time to say that, oh, we kidnapped this person, we are going to kidnap these other people. But then I think their confidence in the last few months, I don't understand it, and it's actually very sad. There was even a video or a story I read, and they said that if care is not taken, they might kidnap President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yes.
I read that.
I think there was an information like that, but some said it was AI generated, and while some said it was genuine. But what I just want to quickly buttress your point, what you said earlier. You see, the challenge with Nigeria is we play with everything and anything. Now, when the body language of the presidency says nothing, I mean, maybe it looks indifferent, whether you are kidnapped or you are not kidnapped, we really don't care. Your body language says a lot of things. When I think it is just after the Eruku kidnapping that we begin to see that the presidency has some sort of, they don't have a soft spot for kidnapping, so they want to put all hands on deck to make sure things are sorted and kidnapped victims are returned to their homes. I think this should be something we should have seen a long time ago. When it comes to recruitment into the police force, when it comes to withdrawing personnel, security operatives from important personalities, as they call them, to come back to the police force and then secure the lives and properties of the people, which is the primary objective. But then, unfortunately, I think Nigeria is the only place where the only security apparatus that cares, that is saddled with the responsibility of taking care of lives and properties of the people is the police. And then when that happens, there's a problem. Even in America, as we speak today, there are private security firms. And they provide security for VIPs. So if you can afford them, you don't just go through the police. If you can afford private security, because it is way expensive than you going to the police in the US. But then they trust them. The American people trust them. Even in the UK, there are private security firms. In Israel, the same thing. In other countries too. So the government empowered them. They gave them licenses to carry heavy firearms, yes, but their job is strictly to bodyguard, to secure lives and properties of private individuals who cannot afford or maybe do not want to go through the police channel. And it is fine, it is legal. So that is one thing we should look at in this country. Unfortunately, some people will still misuse that opportunity. I think Nigeria is the only place where every opportunity given creates another avenue for you to do something, whether legal or illegal. So, but most times it is illegal in this country. So because I've been given a certain power, regardless of who I am, I can just plug into a particular hole there and then do something I like. So if we look into investing in private security firms, I think private individuals should also maybe apply for that and make it public. Oh, we have this, and they are capable of doing whatever it is you want the police to do. I think we have the police to the Nigerian people, and then the elite they have the money. So let them pay, high prices for private security, and then we'll be fine in this country. So the ungoverned areas, that's still where I'm going to, because if these places are governed areas, I don't think Boko Haram will have the effrontery. It's the effrontery for me that Boko Haram and ISWAP were fighting on Nigerian territory. And then until the body counts got to over 200, nobody has talked about it. Nobody has said anything about it. And it happened in Nigeria.
I'm very sure you remember the Kuje prison attack. Do you know that area is very close to, it's very, very close to Aso Rock? I'm very sure you're aware. So what do you think happened? For them to have the effrontery to attack, a prison that is very close to Aso Rock.
It wasn't just a 5 minutes or 10 minutes operation.
It lasted for, I think, about an hour or so before actually, people, got to know about it. So for them to do that, that's why, a lot of persons are saying, oh, it's a rumor, they can't do that to Aso Rock. Please, it is very important that they make good use of that information and prepare adequately. Don't never say never. And speaking about the VIPs now, I think a senator 2 days ago raised a concern in the House to say that if you withdraw security operatives from the VIPs, who should protect the VIPs? It's like putting the VIPs at risk. But then, is any VIP more Nigerian than other Nigerians? But then we still need to cater for them. So just like you mentioned, they can make use of the security, the private security operatives. Hire them, you have the money, hire them, and then make sure that, they protect your lives and properties. So I think that's another good way. Honestly, we have a lot to do in this country. And one more thing is that now that the security is intense in this country, we need to be careful of people who are very brilliant and they can come up with ideas to build guns and then sell to people. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. That's another problem on the hands of the government. So apart from worrying about, okay, let's relax the laws to ensure that people can buy guns, you should also look out for people who are desperate to protect themselves.
I've seen situations where the police paraded criminals who fabricate guns, and then you compare the fake AK-47 to the ones the police carry. And the only thing that is different is the fact that maybe the one fabricated had no proper finishing, but it's almost the same.
But can it kill someone? That's the question.
Absolutely.
That's a problem. If you can kill someone, it's a problem.
And
how do you even differentiate a fake one from the one that is original?
For people who don't know, that's a problem. But then let's take weather report on this this morning. That will be a fine place to leave that topic. And we do hope that the federal government of Nigeria, listen to that and definitely take a decision, not based on impulse, but definitely based on what the Nigerian people need at this time.